Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of Big Sound Small Town, the podcast that spotlights the talented and diverse musicians in small towns and communities. This season we're branching out to include the community of people who make it possible for musicians to be able to perform their music, the producers, the recording engineers, the venue owners, and many others, and as always, the small town musicians. Remember, small town doesn't mean small talent. Hear their stories. Today on Big Sound Small Town, my guest is the founder and front man of the Dancing Fleas, Mr. Jason Lineberger.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. So
you want to hear a little bit about the Fleas?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I can't fully take credit for founding the Fleas. I've got to lay that credit at the feet of David Melton.
Okay.
So 6 years ago, this is a wonderful day that happened. I walk into Shelby Music with my daughter, and who was 16 at the time, and we look up on the wall and there's a poster for Shelby's Ukulele Club for their first meeting coming up. And so we were looking at that poster, and I said to her, I said, Galaxy, we should be in a ukulele club. And she said, that's absolutely right. We hadn't ever played ukuleles at that point.
That's great.
So we bought ukuleles, and then shortly thereafter went to the first club meeting and learned how to play them, and played with David for a couple years, and really as a ukulele club. So it was just a sort of strum along, sing along. And then he worked us up to do some performances. Back when Newt's was still here, we did some performances at Newt's.
As a three-piece?
Well, there were about 5 or 6 of us at the band at that time. I think actually we may have even had a few more. It was a very fluid lineup. We had a stand-up bass player that would come sit in with us, a bluegrass bass player, and we had David would play pedal steel sometimes, and so we had it was just a ever-shifting lineup, and we actually rehearsed in Don Gibson's old apartment above Shelby Music.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So after a couple years of that, there was a group of us that really wanted to take it to the next step, and we wanted to be a performing group. And so the people who didn't have time to dedicate practices once or twice every week, plus shows in town and out of town eventually, sort of stepped away from the group, and the rest of us pushed forward. And now we have a 9-piece ukulele band. So across the front, if we get our way and we set up the way we want, we set up 7 microphones across the front of the stage. Okay. Most venues we play don't have 7 microphones ready for us, so we carry 7 microphones and stands with us. We set up 7 across the front, and we have our 7 major, our ukulele players across the front, playing everything from the concert length ukuleles to we have a few that play tenor, and I play a baritone for some of the songs in the show, and played banjolele on a couple other songs. Mm-hmm. And then we have our U-bass player, America's Rock and Roll Mayor, Stan Anthony. Yes. And we have Greg Shull, Dr. Shull on the drums. And so we have a full-time percussionist with us now. And, Stan plays the U-bass. Yeah. So we really have, most of the time, we have 8 ukuleles playing plus drums. Now,
are we playing unison? Are we playing harmonies? Are we playing both?
So it depends. So when we're working on an arrangement of a song, often we all start playing the same, or attempting to play the same strum patterns, the same, play in unison. And then as we become more comfortable with the song, we start figuring out, and usually the way our parts are working is we'll have someone who's going to play lead. Right. We might have someone who's doing some finger picking and sort of arpeggiating the stuff, the rhythm, and then we'll have just sort of a steady strum in the background, and sometimes we'll have people who do a few featured parts in it, little snippets of melody or things like that.
Now, are there vocals with this?
Yes. So with the Fleas, that's the reason we have 7 microphones across the front, is we have 6 people who sing, and I am also in the band.
Okay. That's good.
So I need a microphone because I do most of the talking between the songs and try to keep the show lively as if we need any help keeping the show lively. But and I also play some wind instruments into the mic.
I was going to with that is the ukulele is not your first venture into music, is it?
Right. So I started playing flute when I was 13 and did the whole middle school or junior high at that time.
Right.
Junior high band, high school band experience. Bought a guitar when I was 22 and messed around on it and never really learned to play it well and held on to it for a long time. And then probably about 10 years ago, picked it up again and really started trying to learn. And then 6 years ago, picked up the ukulele. But now I just want to play anything I can put my hands on. So I'm learning piano, learning. We have a little side project band called Papa Collar and the Hindquarters, and we're a blues band, and I play guitar in that. So I'm really working hard every day on my guitar chops and trying to get that up to where I want it to be.
Can you not incorporate like the Jethro Tull with the flute to?
So we have, in our current set, we have 3 songs where I play flute. Ukulele classics like War's Lowrider, songs that you would automatically think of when you think of ukuleles.
I was thinking that, definitely, yes.
So recently we added in Going Up the Country. So I do the flute,
so you can do the flute
part
on
for that. And we do Lowrider, and instead of the horns, the bum, 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 bum. So I play all that on flute. And then we have Rockin' Robin, and so our version of Rockin' Robin starts off with beautiful harmonies. Like I said, we have 6 amazing singers in the band, and they can harmonize like sweet songbirds. And so we start that song off with some harmonies, and I play tin whistle on that song, and then play a flute solo about halfway through the song.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And different, very different.
Yes.
Now, that being said, have you had trouble booking your band?
So I mean, I don't know if you would consider it trouble or not. Like, we have definitely had some busy times, and we play about as many shows as we can play. All of us being professionals in other fields. So, for instance, within the last, we had a 2-week period, actually a 1-week period, where we played 2 shows in Shelby, both private shows, a party and a private show for a business. We also played at Oktoberfest at Freight Yard, and we were on the bill with the band that opened up for us, who I thought were awesome, drove all the way from Detroit.
Really?
So they were touring bands on this bill. And we also played Oscar Blues in that same short period of time.
And those are good venues.
Right. So we've as far as like finding places to play around Shelby, sometimes that's a little challenging because, for one thing, stages have to be big enough to hold a 9-piece band. And even the stage at Oscar Blues, we had 4 people on the stage and 5 people off the stage, and that becomes its own challenge being that big of a band.
It is. That's a challenge for being any size. A lot of venues is a challenge for any size of band, much less 9 players. So, I mean, that's a lot. Now, do you book the shows, or do you have a booking agent?
So I handle the booking. We also have help from Joe Kendrick.
Joe's a wonderful person.
Yes, he is. So Joe and I have known each other for a long time, and we actually went to college together, although we did not really know each other in college, but we were both DJs at WXYC in Chapel Hill together. And so Joe puts in the word for us and was instrumental in getting shows like the Freight Yard show.
Joe could probably put you on some festivals, which I think your act would be a good festival act.
Yes. So our one of our highlights so far is we got to play Leaf.
Yeah, Leaf is great.
So we played the family stage.
I can see where you would fit Leaf
very well. That was one of the best experiences. We played 5 shows over the course of Leaf. And 2 were plugged in, 2 were unplugged, and 1 was a parade. But getting to hang out backstage with the artists, Mavis Staples was on that bill. I couldn't get close enough to say hi to Mavis because you can't get close to Mavis.
Yes,
but,
I've played Lee several times, and yes, it's a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed it.
Fun.
Yes. So we've done a few. We're regulars at Art of Sound and play in the main outdoor stage now, which is great.
Yeah, which is great. More exposure that way.
Yes, I mean, this time getting to come on right before Scott Moss's group was amazing, and getting to stick around for them in Acoustic Syndicate was awesome.
Trust me, you want to go on before both of those bands,
right?
Not after.
Right. I was very happy with how we were placed on the bill.
Yeah, that's a good placing on the bill.
Yeah. So it's we've played some quirky shows. It's always funny to me the kind of people who want to book a 9-piece ukulele band. So we've played everything from we've played church shows where we played old time. We went way back with these songs, gospel songs. We played Sims Legion Park, played the stadium for a beer festival. So just, whatever we can get. We just love being on stage, and the personalities in the band. We're not background music. We command attention.
Also, you do create attention by, now you also wear different stuff than most bands, right?
Right. So we have our sort of typical uniform are these bright flamingo covered Hawaiian shirts, and although we actually skipped the uniform at our last show, played Halloween at Newgrass, and we all went in costume, and they even let me sing a song, which I'm sure they regret, but it went over really well. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but on stage we're just a bunch of hams, and we just refuse to. We're constantly with the antics. Trying to get people like, look up here, listen, interact with us.
So it's entertainment as much as it is music.
Yes. So we used to really call ourselves a comedy band, and I don't think of us in that way anymore, although I think some of our songs certainly have comedic elements. I really think of us more now as what, whereas the comedy may have carried us in the past, I think what carries us now is we can now play and perform.
Can play, and the music is good, and the rest of it is just additional entertainment.
If people are laughing and smiling, that's all good.
Kind of vaudeville,
right. So like at Freight Yard, we had this moment where there are these kind of jaded hipsters like sitting in the background and kind of, they were, acting like as if they might be too cool for what was going on. And we just turned it up to 11, and we had them smiling and laughing and eventually singing along. We have a pretty eclectic and wacky set of songs that we play. Everything from, we do a version of Hotel California to we do a mashup of Valerie with Kung Fu Fighting.
That's different.
And we kick off our show with a mashup of Twist and Shout and La Bamba.
You do that every show?
That's our typical opener, yes. We typically go from that into 9 days a week. So 9 days a week is our comeback to the Beatles' 8 days a week, because according to the lore we've created, they took our songs 7 days a week and had to one-up us.
Right.
So now we got to one-up them.
That's great.
With 9 days a week.
That's great. That's really good. I like that.
And then we go into our theme song, "The Fleas Are Here."
So you have a choreographed first part of your show.
We do, and it goes over so well. We really want to try to start working more into, last year I saw the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain perform.
Yeah, let's go into that. You've taken your ukulele talents someplace other than Cleveland County. Yeah, so
North
Carolina.
I went to, I saw them. Most of the band went to see Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain perform, and they are I think they've got about 9 people in the band right now, and they've performed all over the world. I mean, they've performed everywhere, and they had their patter down to a science. They had this really choreographed show, and it was super entertaining, and I loved every moment of it. Like, okay, we want to emulate that. But on the England tip, so a couple of us recently got back from England where we played 2 gigs at a festival in St. Ives, and it was incredible.
I'm sure it was.
And we got to go over there and play with our sister group, the Dancing Fleet Orchestra, one of my favorite, most wonderful group of people I've ever performed with or have ever even hung out with.
Is this an English band, a Scottish band?
Yeah, so they're an English band from the southern part of England, from the Cornwall area,
Okay.
and they're a ukulele club, and so they do big sing-alongs. They have sometimes as many as 30 members performing, and they all strum and sing along, and they have so much like joy and enthusiasm. They were very, very fun to play with, and so we were contacted by mistake from this festival in England,
Okay.
because they were trying to get the British Dancing Fleet Orchestra, and they instead got America's premier ukulele party band, the Dancing Fleas. And so we had corresponded with our sister group in England through Facebook for a while, and so I pointed them in the right direction, this festival in the right direction. But then I contacted the British Fleas and I said, hey, we'd like to do this too. Right. It's a little bit of a commute, but how do you feel about having somebody else jump in? And they said, well, we're not playing that festival. We're playing one a few miles away. Let's do this. So my daughter and I went across to England and played 2 shows. We played a show right on the wharf in St. Ives, and it was awesome. And we played a show at the Tate Gallery.
Now, did you do this individually, or did you play with the Dancing Fleet Orchestra?
We played with the Dancing Fleet Orchestra. Yes, yeah. Yes. So, and our approaches to the songs are really different, and as a result, we had very little rehearsal time. I sort of showed up and we walked through the songs about half an hour before we went on, but they brought something that I was missing, and I brought something I think they were missing, and we came back, all full of energy and ready to do it again. I want to go over this September and play a week of shows.
That would be great.
We got a wonderful reception from the people, and I guess being the hams that we are, my daughter and I attracted a good bit of attention as we're walking out of St. Ives to catch a train back to London to fly back to America. We're walking up the street and we get stopped 2 or 3 times by people on the street saying, hey, where are you playing today? I saw your show yesterday. And we had to say, well, we've got to go back to America. And they were just crestfallen. No.
That's great. That's fabulous.
So I want to go back and play again. It was a lot of fun.
Can you entice other members of the Dancing Fleet?
So right now, we don't really, we making a big profit from this isn't really what motivates us, because
it's music,
right? So, but making some money is good, because now we can have a little kitty and try to defray the cost of, and see how many people we can get over there.
Right.
I would love to take the entire 9-piece group over there. I think we would knock them out of their socks.
That's good. That'd be good.
And so that's one of our goals for 2020 is to play some shows, put a little money in the bank, and then try to subsidize that trip.
That would be great.
Yeah,
that's really good. Are you gonna play something?
Sure. I'll play a little something here. For you?
Yeah. That's beautiful. And you are the first person to play ABBA on any of my shows, yes.
It's a little song I wrote called Take a Chance on Fleas.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's great. That's really good. For the listeners, that was a baritone ukulele that he was playing.
So a tenor with a low G, so it gets so it gets that nice low. So the tuning is G, C, E, A, and you have that nice low G sound instead of your typical ukulele.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I see you also brought an electric.
I did. So it's getting. I can describe it since we're talking about things in the radio world. But what I have here is a solid body electric baritone. And it is, so it plays like a little guitar in a lot of ways. It's a sort of, pretty standard kind of guitar shape. But it has some nice little features, like I can connect it via Bluetooth if I want to. I actually run it wirelessly on stage. And so this is what I'm playing in songs like Hotel California, running it through a full pedal board. So, running it, I guess.
What's in that pedal board?
Okay, well, I mean, I could walk you through the chain real quick.
Yeah.
So I've got a 3-way input, an ABC input into a tuner, into chorus, delay, a flanger, a reverb. And I don't run, on Hotel California, I actually run the flanger mostly on that. And a Voodoo Labs Micro Vibe. And then running that into a Weeping Demon wah pedal.
Yeah.
And I've got a distortion on there if I want. I've got the Dr. J Arsenal distortion.
And then what do you run that into?
So I'm running that into a Fender Mustang II modeling amp. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm considering switching that out. At home, I play with a Black Star tube amp, and I'm thinking about swapping those out.
It's heavier, though. A lot heavier to carry.
It is, but man, it sounds so good,
it does.
So we, on a song like Hotel California, when it gets to that solo at the end, and then if I just step up and just rip it out, it's awesome to see people not expect that from a ukulele, because we're all just sort of strumming through the chords, and then here it comes, and you see people kind of sit on the edge of their seat or kind of cock their head to the side, or maybe even stand up and look alarmed. It's a lot of fun.
That's just really good. Yeah, you're selling this pretty good. I think listeners should be excited to see this.
Absolutely. If you're looking for a good time, you need to come out and see America's premier ukulele party band, the Dancing Fleas. We're always a good time live.
Okay, I'm back with Jason Lineberger of the Dancing Fleas, and he's telling us about his shows, their shows. Tell us what else we can see at the show.
So in our live performance, you'll get everything from lightly choreographed dancing to we have Laura Wheeler, who's an incredible tap dancer, clogger, singer on the band. And so one of the first songs that we did that really caught people's attention was we started doing Wipeout.
Yeah.
And so I'll jump down off stage. I'm running my baritone wirelessly, and I'll kick in the reverb and push up the gain a little bit and jump down off stage and start playing Wipeout. And Laura comes out in front of the band and does the drum solo with taps.
That is cool.
And people love it.
That is really cool. Yeah, I'm sure.
And so we have people just sort of clapping along.
Do you encourage audience
participation,
dancing?
So we were so happy. We played a show at the Senior Center recently, and they loved us, and we had a great time playing for them. We played at Newgrass on Halloween night, and a couple from the Senior Center came out,
that's
and
great.
we went into Stand By Me, and they came down into the area right in front of the stage and danced. And it was wonderful. Yeah, we loved it. So, at the Halloween show, we played the Time Warp, and we had a group of people all doing the Time Warp.
Right.
And then, our song list varies from old songs, like we do Brand New Key, and on that one I play Slide Whistle and Bike Horn and Bike Bell, and to we do a version of Old Town Road, so we're doing new stuff, and everything in between. We've done some Don Gibson tunes.
Yeah.
We've done some rock and roll. We do old time rock and roll. We used to do that, but we do it about 4 times faster than Bob Seger and very punk.
Yeah.
And we've done. We do Wild Thing occasionally, and I sing that song as if I were an Elvis impersonator, and play the ocarina solo on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's if what you're looking for is out of your norm,
Right.
a set of curveballs that you never saw coming, that's what we're going to give. So,
That's great. I mean, that is an alternative form of entertainment.
Absolutely. And I think it's beautiful that a place like Shelby in Cleveland County can support a band.
Yeah.
If we play Newgrass on a Thursday night and we double their normal
Sure.
attendance, that just shows me that people want to have a good time and they're
do.
out to have fun. And if that fun isn't what they expected, or we get a good blend of our regular fans
Yeah.
who come out for all the
I was
shows.
getting ready to ask you, did you have a fan base?
We do. We have people who will travel.
Oh, that was where I was going. Do they travel?
Yes, we have. We used to call them the Flea Bitten. We have a group that calls themselves the Flea Bags.
That's where I was going to go with this, but I was thinking better of it. But
Right.
you said it, yeah.
So they'll come out to our shows and they'll dance and cut up and cheer for the songs they like. So a lot of our shows now, we've seemed to really have caught on in. We've been playing more shows in that sort of Spartanburg, Greenville kind of area, but also we played Saluda in Asheville recently, and our show at Saluda was just.
Well, all bands find pockets,
yeah,
that work.
it's great.
That work, so that's good. That's a pretty artsy area too.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was about the show in Saluda, but we played a 3-hour show in Saluda, and we don't like to take breaks because we all want to be on stage, and also we don't like it when you take a break and people walk away.
Yeah,
so we want to make sure they're all. So we came to Saluda with like 38 songs in our set, and just played pretty much 3 hours straight. And we had people more than half the audience stayed for the entire 3 hours.
That's great.
And they were a wonderful audience. And that energy means so much for us. As a performer, you really get back what the audience is giving you.
Right.
And when we're in a situation like that, I can just feel everybody just cranking it up. And, we sometimes kick it into this high gear where we're all just clicking, and that makes all the practices and all the travel worthwhile when you have that moment when everything comes together and all the harmonies sync up and the solos sound great and the strumming's on rhythm and the sound is balanced nicely.
Do you have a sound man?
We do have a sound man.
So we're talking 10 pieces to go.
Right? He does have a shirt. So he's
I guess you travel together. Do y'all caravan?
Right. So we haven't gone to the route of a
church bus yet?
Of a band vehicle yet.
Yeah.
Right. And the farthest we've traveled for a show isn't much more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's about sort of our range right now. But I'd love to see us expand that in 2020. I think personally that we would be an amazing cruise band. I think playing like a little room, on a cruise, I think we would find that an audience would really enjoy us. So we're fun and accessible, and we play songs people can sing along to, and I think that would be a lot of fun.
That's great.
So, and we're the kind that just go for it. So we're, there's nothing to be gained unless you try. So I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll contact some cruise lines this year.
Sure.
We'll see what happens, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
As with anything, you have to be in it to win it, or you have
That's
to
right.
go where it is.
That's right.
In order to, if you sit and don't do it, it won't happen.
Exactly, and that's our attitude in general.
And you have a pretty good attitude, so I think that's another thing too about booking your own bands and all. When people say no, you kind of get your feelings hurt.
Right.
But if you can keep a positive attitude and stay with it, It works out in the end. Yeah.
And so it's what's great about having a person like Joe on our side is, and he and I are both still co-booking everything,
Right.
but people don't know me or trust my taste,
But
they
Joe.
trust Joe's taste. And when he tells them it's going to be a good time, people are going to have fun, they're like, oh, well, we'll take a chance. Once they take a chance on Fleas, we're in there.
I hear you.
We played the Oscar Blues show, and they didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
But man, we had that whole place just hopping. It was amazing. It was packed out, and
That's
people were
right.
singing along, and it was so much energy. And we get off the stage, and we're putting stuff away, and they're all like, "When will you be back?
Yes.
We need more of this." So
Wow.
I love that.
That's
you know.
great.
They just got to see us one time, then they know how much fun it's going to be.
That's just fabulous. I mean, that's a positive, feel-good story there.
Yes.
And something that it's just your whole deal, Jason, is different.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like the positive attitude. If the rest of the people have as good an attitude as you have, I fully believe it's a wonderful, entertaining show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I do appreciate your time for coming by and enlightening us. Because
Glad to do it.
I'm excited. I haven't had a chance to see a full show, so I can't
Got to
wait.
come out for a full show.
All right.
It's going to be a good time.
That sounds really good. Thank you again.
You're welcome.